Hello all, a warm greetings from Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaj Institute of Technology, Mysore. Myself, Professor Kishan GS, Assistant Professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaj Institute of Technology, Mysore. So, I am here with my co-faculties, Professor Satish H and Professor Purushottam S, dealing with the lecturing sessions on fluid power systems. So, the subject fluid power system defined under VTU curriculum for the 7th semester students of mechanical engineering, having the subject code 17ME72. So the overall credits for this particular subject is being kept as 4 credits. And to begin with the lecturing sessions, so I'll be dealing with the today's class with briefing out the definition of fluid power system first, followed by the brief overview of the syllabus, then the brief content on the objectives, what it is being planned, wherein we are going to study within the time frame and the available resources, followed by the course outcomes. So let us start with the definition of fluid power system itself. So the letter FPS represents fluid power systems in general. To define fluid power system, it is the set of things working together as parts of mechanism that deals with generation, control and transmission of power using pressurized fluid. I repeat, it is the set of things working together as parts of mechanism that deals with generation, control and transmission of power using pressurized fluid. Here, the term FPS will be dealt with two different terminologies called as hydraulics and pneumatics, where when the fluid, that is the pressurized fluid, is considered to be liquid, then the term we use is hydraulics. When the pressurized fluid is air, specifically to speak with, it is compressed air, we are going to call it as pneumatics. So what are these different pressurized liquids wherein we are going to consider under hydraulics are the petroleum fluids, synthetic oils as well as water. So if these three oils, if these three fluids are considered, then we are going to define the term FPS under the heading called as hydraulics. Once it is compressed air, we are going to define the term FPS as pneumatics. So moving on with the brief overview of this particular syllabus. So this syllabus consists of 5 modules. The first module being the introduction to fluid power system. In this particular module, we are going to study different components of fluid power system, different types of fluids used in fluid power system, as well as different types of pipes, hoses, couplings, as well as the additives which enhances the performance of fluid in the fluid power system. So this particular module gives us the complete insight of what is the contribution of fluid power system in its working. So this is one of the main objective wherein we can target in first module. Moving on with the second module, it is the pumps and actuators. So pumps and actuators play a very vital role in any fluid power system that results in transfer of fluid from one particular position to another particular position, wherein the pressurized fluid, once it is being taken from one point to another point to exhibit the actual work wherein it is being targeted with, that is to generalize, it is the targeted application. We are going to get the study on different types of actuators, like how we can extract the work from the hydraulic system. So here in this particular unit, we are going to even study different parameters that contributes to the overall performance, different selection factors for pumps and actuators, and as well as different contamination factors which results in the construction and working of pumps and actuators. Moving on with the module 3, it is the core part of fluid power system wherein we are going to study different components that contribute to the fluid power system as well as the hydraulic circuit design. So here we are targeting hydraulic system in general. So what are these components in module 3? See, the components in module 3 basically goes with different types of control valves. We are going to target 3 types of control valves. One is direction, which results in the flow of fluid from one particular point to another particular point. Another one is the pressure control valve. The pressure control valve tries to retain the pressure at the required range when the fluid is being transferred from one location to another location. And the third type of control valve is the flow control valves, which results in a particular flow rate of the fluid that has to be targeted to reach the actuator so that enough amount of work is being extracted as defined in the particular application. So since as in the definition itself, we are going to target the word called as pressurized fluids, the pressure control valve here plays a very vital role, because in case of fluid power system, when it is considered under hydraulics as a source, what we are going to do is we are going to reuse the same fluid for the continuous operating cycles. So hence what happens, retaining the pressure of that particular fluid throughout the working cycle becomes a very huge issue to be concentrated. Hence we are going to deal with the pressure control valves, which assist the entire fluid power system in getting that particular thing done. So moving on with the module 4, the module 4 directly deals with pneumatic power system. In this pneumatic power system, we are going to study as similar wherein we have studied in the first 3 modules. We are going to study the similar structure considering compressed air as the working medium here. So we are going to study different components of pneumatic system. We are going to study different types of pumps and actuators in pneumatic system, as well as we are going to study different types of control components like direction control valve, flow control valve and pressure control valve. Along with that, we are going to have some specific concentration on fluid regulators as well as the lubricating units here, filters, regulators and lubricating units in this particular module. And the last module deals with pneumatic control circuits. As we studied in module 3 regarding hydraulic circuits, in module 5 we are going to concentrate specifically on pneumatic control circuits. Here when it comes to pneumatic control circuits, so the influence of electronics will be introduced in the study here. We are going to study something called as signal processing units here, the applications of the logic gates like AND gate, OR gate, NOT gate as such, wherein we are going to deal with controlling the entire actuation medium using electro-pneumatics or electro-pneumatics kind of circuits. So this is the complete overview of the syllabus. Moving on with the scheme of evaluation or the question paper pattern. So in this particular subject, we are going to have 2 questions from each of the module. So out of 2 questions from each of the module, you have to answer any 5 questions, choosing 1 complete question from one of the modules. So you cannot skip any of the topics here when it comes to examination. So we have to study all the 5 modules and we have to choose any one particular complete question from all the 5 modules. So moving on with the segregation of internal assessment and semester end examination marks here. So the internal assessment marks will be here for 40 marks, out of which 30 will be for internal assessment and 10 marks will be there for the assignment. So here in this 30 marks, the average of all the 3 internals will be taken into account. So we cannot skip any of the 3 internals as per the schedule here. And moving on with the semester end examination, the question paper pattern will be for 100 marks, wherein so 20 marks for each of the module will be provided, out of which you are supposed to answer any 5 questions, and the 100 marks pattern wherein you have attended, that will be converted to the marks of 60. So in total, when you are getting the grades or credits in terms of your final results, 40 marks will be taken from class internal examination, as well as the semester end examination will be converted for 60 marks, and cumulatively 40 plus 60, you will get the average for 100 marks. So moving on with the course outcome. So let us say what we mean by outcome. So outcome is a measurement attribute wherein whatever we have planned at the earlier and what the students of mechanical engineering, once he has studied this particular course, fluid power system, would be able to do is what the course outcomes are. So here we have 5 different course outcomes, and these outcomes are derived based on the quantity and quality in which the complete syllabus as well as the extracurricular activities what we make the students to learn during the tenure of this particular syllabus or this particular course. So the first outcome is apply the fundamentals of fluid power system to interpret the construction and working of various components in fluid power system. So as I already said, we do deal with different types of different components in fluid power system, whether it is hydraulics or pneumatics, we have different components. So once these particular components are to be, once we understand the fundamentals of these particular components, then we have to think of applying those particular fundamental components so that we are going to interpret what the construction or what the working of that particular products is giving the essence on the fluid power system. Followed by the second parameter, identify the performance parameters of hydraulic pump and actuators. So here we are going to identify various parameters like pump performance, mechanical efficiency, volumetric efficiency, maybe the dia, Okay, so eccentricity in case of the vane pumps as such. So we are going to extract different performance parameters of hydraulic pump and actuators. Moving on with the third outcome, the student, once he is completely, once he has studied the complete course here, he will be able to select different components of hydraulic and pneumatic circuit. So whatever components we have studied here, or whatever since we are applying the fundamentals and interpreting the construction and working here, the student will be definitely able to select what component is required for a particular application, because in the second outcome itself we are going to identify different performance parameters. We have interpreted the various components. Based on the interpretation of various components and their performance parameter, we will definitely be able to select which particular component is essential for a particular application. So here the entire hydraulics and pneumatics will be completely targeted with industrial applications, as well as any particular small applications wherein human effort can be eliminated to a minor extent. Moving on with the fourth outcome, analyze the functional requirements of a fluid power transmission for a given application. So once we have selected the various components of the hydraulic system for a hydraulic or pneumatic circuit, here based on its functionality, a student will be able to analyze what actually the requirement of that particular power transmission is being targeted with respect to a given application. And the last one is the student will be able to design an appropriate hydraulic pneumatic circuit or combination circuit like electro-hydraulic or electro-pneumatics for any given application. See, hydraulics and pneumatics cannot function as an individual entity. It has to get the assistance from certain additional sources. So here what we do is, based on the fifth module of study, where we study some electronics included in the pneumatic control circuits here. So we are going to get a student with the ability of designing the circuit based on any given application. So hydraulics and pneumatics can be studied by a student not only from the perspective of understanding, but it can be studied even from the perspective of applying it in a particular location as per the requirement. So here at the last, the student will definitely be acquiring all these outcomes. He will definitely be in a position to design a particular circuit which will be a combination of electronics, hydraulics and pneumatics, which can be deliberately considered as electro-hydraulics, electro-pneumatics. So in general, the functionality of a hydraulic kit and a pneumatic kit can also be considered, but when you are designing a complete system, the influence of electronics will also be taken into account. So this is the first particular introduction phase for the fluid power system. So here what we do is, whenever we take this particular subject, we need certain additional stuff to enhance our knowledge. So the prescribed textbook for this particular subject is Anthony Esposito, a textbook on fluid power system by Anthony Esposito. So that textbook can be considered as a Bible for fluid power system. Almost all type of descriptions, explanations with applications is detailed in that particular textbook. So coming in the next particular session, we are going to start with module 1. Thank you. Welcome all. We are going to start with the first module, Introduction to Fluid Power System. So here the first topic to be studied is the components of fluid power system. So this is a general layout of fluid power system. So the major components of fluid power system constitutes an oil tank or a reservoir, filter, electrical motor, pump, pressure regulation unit, control valve, actuator, and the pink color lines results in the flow lines wherein the passage of fluid is being considered in the entire hydraulic system. So here let us understand the functionality of a hydraulic system first, because in the upcoming units we are going to take up each and every components one by one. We are going to interpret each and every functionality in detail. So here in this particular system you can observe that the entire system is a closed loop system. So as discussed in the first session, the oil which has been taken into the system, the same oil will be recirculated for n number of operating cycles to get a particular application or to satisfy the particular application. So what is the functionality of this particular entire hydraulic system is being constituted is that The electrical motor is the prime source or the prime mover that drives the pump, and wherein this particular pump then transfers the oil which is present in the oil tank through the filter and enter into the pressure regulation unit. Here in filter, if there is any contaminants present in the fluid or the oil will be trapped. So since we are going with the clean oil into the pump, here inside the pump the low pressure fluid will be converted into high pressure fluid, and that high pressure fluid will be sent into the pressure regulation unit. Here in pressure regulation unit, if the fluid which is coming out of the pump has met the requirement of the pressure parameter to satisfy the load, then what happens is that particular pressurized fluid will be sent into the control valve. If the pressure exceeds, so exceeding of pressure happens when the fluid is being considering for the multiple number of operating cycles. If the pressure of the fluid which is coming through the pump during its n number of working cycle exceeds, at that particular point of time you can observe there is a flow line which is from pressure regulation unit to the tank, and that particular flow line is called as excess fluid. This excess fluid arises when the pressure of the oil is excess than the required pressure. So if the pressure of the oil is optimum, then that pressure will be sent into the control valve. Here in this particular control valve, the direction control valve is being targeted here. So you can see three levers here: rise, off and lower. So these three are the position of a single lever. They are not three levers, they are position of a single lever. If the lever is kept in upright position, it is in the off condition. If it is moved towards the left, it is under rise, and if it is moved toward right, it is lower. This rise and lower condition is basically considered upon the actuation medium. Here the actuator what we have considered is cylinder with a piston arrangement, and to the piston rod an additional load, that is weight, is being attached for the purpose of illustration of understanding the functionality of a hydraulic system. So you can observe here we have two ports B and A. When we take piston cylinder arrangement, the functionality is expressed in terms of two terms. One is extension, another one is retraction. What do we mean by extension? We have a load W here. If the load is being lifted in the upward direction, then it is called as extension. If the load, once it is been lifted, if the entire system is brought back to its original position, then it is called as retraction. So here A and B are the two ports that results in extension and retraction of the the actuator considered here in this explanation. So in order to extend, that is in order to rise the load, what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to bring this lever to the left direction so that the fluid from the pressure regulation unit which has entered into the control valve will be made to enter through port A. So you can observe the arrow mark here. So we have two arrow marks on both the ports. So for that particular purpose, we have to understand this explanation. So this particular arrow mark through port A results in applying the pressure or the force onto the piston end so that the load is being lifted. Once the load is being lifted, in order to bring back the load to its original condition or the piston to its original condition, what we have to do is we have to stop the supply from port A, we have to start the supply from port B. Once we have to go with that particular condition, then the same lever should be brought to its front position, that is to the lower position, so that the power supply, the pressurized fluid supply through the port A is cut, whereas the supply through the port B is supplied. Similarly, during the extension, there will be pressurized fluid supply from port A and there will be closure of port B. So similarly what happens, the extension and retraction takes place. So during the extension, we have supplied the fluid through port A here, and during the retraction, now we are cutting off the supply through port A, whereas we are supplying the pressurized oil or the fluid through port B. Then what we are supposed to do, we have to remove the oil which is present in the piston side. This is piston side, this is piston rod side. Okay, so from the piston side we have to remove the fluid, and thereby what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to make sure that this fluid which has resulted in the extension of the piston should reach back to the oil tank, and that fluid is considered as return fluid. So when there is a supply from port A, there will be no supply from port B. This is during the first cycle. Next, for the second cycle, what happens when there is a power supply from port A for the extension, we have already considered the flow from port B for the retraction in the previous cycle. So now we have to remove this particular oil which is present here or the fluid which is present here. So what we do, once we start supplying from port A for the second cycle, we are going to keep the port B open so that the oil which has resulted in the previous cycle for the retraction, that will be taken from port B to through the control valve to the oil tank, and that resultant pressurized oil which is returning to the oil tank is called as return fluid. So the fluid which comes from the control valve back to the oil tank is called as return fluid, and the fluid which is coming from pressure regulation unit to the oil tank is called as excess fluid. So this is the major or the complete functionality of hydraulic system or the components of hydraulic system. Now we shall study the advantages, applications and the limitations of hydraulics or fluid power system. So here, before going with the advantages and limitations, let us focus on applications, because we find n number of opportunities to get into the understanding or notice of the application of hydraulic system. So here, overhead trams, corn harvesting, bush drives, lift trucks, excavators, hydraulic jacks, robotic arm, power steering, braking system. So these are the few of the major areas of application wherein we find hydraulics as a source. So there is a common tendency in our day-to-day life. So we don't use the word called as excavators, but we call the vehicle by its name. We call it by JCB, we call it by Hitachi, we call it by Caterpillar. They are all the company name, but in general those machines or those vehicles are nothing but excavators. So at least from now onwards, please try to notice that it is excavators, and let us avoid by calling it by the name of the company here. Now, so bush drives. So if this, let us take one by one. The overhead trams are considered when there is a transfer of people from one particular location to another particular location using some wire and aerial movements. So this type of applications, we generally see it in power stations. And moving on with corn harvesting, so it is the day-to-day village limits wherein we are going to see many of the machines or a huge build vehicles that results in separating the corn from the shoot. The bush drives, wherein we generally find its application in cleaning the floor areas, basically in hospitals, industries and certain areas wherein huge amount of dirt will be identified. Lift trucks are used in industrial applications wherein you are going to lift heavy loads wherein human cannot be considered for that particular purpose. Say for example, if we are lifting around 1000 to 2000 kgs of load, we cannot use the human source to use that particular loads. Hence, at that particular point of time, we are going to make use of the hydraulic machines in the form of lift trucks. So as I just said, the excavators, whatever we call by the name Hitachi, JCB, Caterpillar and all, they are used to excavate the ground from the ground surfaces from the level. Next is the hydraulic jack, which is considerably taken as an application for lifting up of again heavy huge loads, and it finds also it also finds its application in robotic arm, the power steering when it comes to your automobiles, as well as the braking system which comes in automobiles. So bringing all these applications into notice, we can now discuss something on advantages and limitations. See, the major advantages of opting for the fluid power system is the targeted application. For any particular targeted application, whether it is lifting a load, transferring a particular load from one point to another point, ease and accuracy of control is the major advantage. What is this ease and accuracy of control? See, using minimum amount of components, if you press a button, there will be one particular activity being done. If you release a button, that particular activity will be stopped. So if you have observed any excavator, if it has to dig the surface, if you just press a button, it will start digging the surface. And once you want to lift it at a particular range, you can just lift it up, and thereby what you are going to do is you can retain it at that particular position over a period of time. So that ease of work and accuracy of control is one of the major advantage of a hydraulic system. Next, multiplication of forces. to transfer a particular load from, say for example, from ground surface to the 4th floor. If this particular hydraulic system is considered, maybe during a telescopic application wherein one within the another, just like the FM antenna. So we'll be having multiple cylinders located within each other, so that each and every cylinder will come out and results in the extension of load from ground surface to the 4th floor, or as such maybe one such particular thing can be considered. Moving on with constant force or torque. So once we are targeting the application or lifting up the load, this particular system can result in lifting the same load or provide the same torque over a very long period of time. So hence that is one among the most advantages of the hydraulic system, followed by simplicity, safety and economy. See here, the major advantage of simplicity goes with the constructional feature of hydraulic system. The number of components are very minimum compared to any kind of mechanical systems that are designed to travel a load, take a particular product from one location to another location. So hence the complexity of design will be not a big problem here. Hence it is simple in its construction, and hence that is one of the advantage. And once we have simple constructional principle constructional components, then monitoring the same will become one more advantage, that is safety. And since we have only the fluid which is to be concentrated along with the periodic maintenance of minimum components in the design, the economy factor will also become the advantage. And moving on with the limitation, the only limitations what we are going to understand or study is basically the use of fluid source. Since the fluid used is oil here in hydraulic system, then definitely the dirt, the entire area wherein the hydraulic system is considered will obviously result in the dirty aspect. And since the same oil is being considered at, as you can observe in this particular figure, since the same oil is being considered for, it's reused for n number of working cycle, due to the variation in any kind of pressure, excess amount of variation in any kind of pressure, which may be beyond the limitation, that leads to leakage here. And once since the same oil is being considered here, if it is not considered under periodic maintenance at that particular point of time, it may even burst due to the overpressure, and followed by it can even cause fire, as well as it results even in the loud noise. So whatever the limitations what we have in case of hydraulic system, it is basically due to the usage of the same oil from the oil tank throughout the working cycle of the fluid power system. So here the major issue of maintenance will always be dealt with the hydraulic fluid, which is considered as a working medium here, rather than any other components. Once this particular part has been targeted for maintenance issue, the rest of the other components life gets enhances. So this is something regarding the components of hydraulic system, advantages, limitations and applications. In the coming classes, we are going to study different types of fluids as working medium, the characteristics of fluids, as well as the sealing, the different types of seals, hoses, pipes, couplings as such. Thank you.